solvers of problems.
Okay, so a summit is going to give you some ideas.
Yes, a public safety summit.
All right, there is from the audience as well a question along those lines about who's involved in public safety and deciding who's right and who's wrong. And this actually was not for you, but I think it applies to either candidate. From 2007 to 2014, there were 312 completed investigations of police shootings, and out of those 312 investigations, only one police officer was found to have violated any sort of rule. So, and they say since that time that they found out that shooting was justified in law. Basically, it's talking about the review process. What do you see wrong with that picture, if anything, and what would you do to address it?
I think that in terms of police accountability and the Independent Police Review Authority, it matters who the members of that panel are. When I appoint members to that panel, I will ensure that there is a cross-section of individuals who are independent and unbiased toward any institution or individual so that they can render fair decisions in their findings. So having independence and integrity of the individuals is paramount.
We have time for one more quick tweet. One more quick Twitter question. And tell me your name, young man. Thank you for standing up.
My name is Brandon.
What do you do here at Chicago State besides stay on the honor roll?
I'm a free physical therapy major.
Well, I'll leave that, sir.
Alright, so my question is, what is your plan to make Chicago a more attractive place for companies to provide not only more, but also higher paying jobs?
Question.
In order to attract more companies and investment to Chicago, with the outcome being the creation of jobs and job opportunities, as well as other economic development opportunities in the neighborhood, so as to end the tale of two cities in Chicago by seeing neighborhood revitalization and job creation, we've got to make neighborhoods safer in Chicago. We cannot continue to be one of the most violent cities in the country. We also need a robust system of public neighborhood schools in every neighborhood with equity, meaning good teachers, meaning good technology, meaning good books, and good support system. I also have put forth the idea, and I'll be talking about it more tomorrow, about investing in redeveloping and expanding and modernizing Chicago's port. The Port of Chicago, also known as the Illinois Port Authority, has tremendous potential for attracting industry to the South Side, for renewing the South Side. It has access to Europe. It has access to the Gulf of Mexico. It is an international asset that has yet to be developed. It can be a very important anchor toward neighborhood revitalization, especially on the South Side, in additionally supporting the rail, the air, and the transportation networks that we have in terms of highway in Chicago, and keeping Chicago a leader in that.
All right, 40 characters really got stretched out, but thank you.
There is, you said something earlier, Commissioner Garcia, about expanding the sales tax, which again is something that Rahm Emanuel has talked about doing as part of his answer to solving the city's fiscal woes. Now, you have said that you really won't come up with a complete and comprehensive plan until after you're able to study.
No, until the books are open. Yes, not study. We've been studying
books.
Yes,
study the books, see where the money is. But isn't that something new tonight? I mean, that you're saying that you would consider an expansion of the sales tax, which again is something that the mayor doesn't control. It has to be done in Springfield.
Correct.
But you're on the same page then with the mayor.
No, I'm not on the same page. I qualify. He doesn't own the sales tax.
No one
does.
Nobody.
It's something that we enacted and that we tweak from time to time. It's time because of the financial straits that we live in to consider it. What I want to protect, what I want to protect against is its regressive entities. What are some of the worst instances? The red light cameras. One of the worst instances, the fees, fines, and penalties that people have suffered over the past 4 years. That's what I'm getting at. But Charles, seriously, what I have said, and I mean this, because Chicagoans are entitled to know where the revenues are going. And Chicagoans are entitled to know where they're going to stop going in terms of the corporate welfare and the subsidizing of the rich and well-connected in Chicago. So in order for me to say, I'm going to enact this tax, I'm going to support that tax, I want to open the books and have in independent audits of the financial statements as well as performance audits of the departments. Chicagoans are entitled to this before they are shouldering any new taxes.
Thank you, Commissioner. You know, guys, hey, I think it really, if we cheer our guy and boo the other guy, that's not going to really be a productive way to deal with this tonight. I think we just need tonight and then take it with us and take it back to our communities, our families, and make some decisions. But let's listen. Let's listen.
Hey, I'm talking, you boy. What's up? I want to make a suggestion like they do in the spoken word festivals. When you really like something, snap. See how snap we all snap. Everybody snap. Well, you can do it. I'm just saying, you want to hear the end of what he's saying. Sometimes when you cheer, you can't even hear what you're like. So.
Very good. Look, I want to go back to the panel, and I want to start with Professor Delaney this time around for this round of questions from our panel here at Chicago State.
I should add to what Robin said. There's no, for rules of engagement, they forgot to say there is no booing. No booing, okay? There's no booing tonight. We're just trying to listen and get some information. Okay, my question is about the TIP funds account, right? Do you have any idea how much money is currently in the TIP account? And can you tell us how you could creatively use those funds to address pressing issues like economic development?
Tax increment financing. It is estimated and reported, and we can't open the book, so we can't quite verify it, that it has a value, the fund, the slush fund that the mayor controls, of $1.7 billion. The mayor will tell you later that most of it has been earmarked, designated, committed to good projects in your neighborhood, although you may not be able to see it. It is one of the audits that I want to engage in to determine exactly what's there and what is free. Tax increment financing should be used in areas that haven't seen development and hard to redevelop areas, former brownfields, and we need to have transparency about its use. I will appoint an advisory committee to oversee the utilization of this money. I also believe that we need to close the districts that have already completed their mission, where those projects have been completed, so that we quit taking money out of the taxing bodies that are being depleted of it. Chicago Public Schools, the Park District, City Colleges of Chicago. It's taxpayer dollars, and it should be returned to the taxpayers and used for purposes to make development happen where it isn't happening.
You know, I just want to try something here. How many people understand really what TIFs are? Ooh, you all better than me. And I cover government every day because it is a very, very confusing situation, and I hear it's almost like a rallying cry, TIF this, TIF that, and quite frankly, I wonder whether people really understand it. Do you understand it, Mr. President? TIFs? Look at the mic, you got to get the microphone there. Because you have a question, I think, that you're going to ask Commissioner Garcia.
Well, if Commissioner Garcia could explain TIF funds for us, that would be excellent.
Whoa, let's go. Can you do this? Okay, pretend now that you're mayor of the city of Chicago, and in 2 minutes, you're going to tell the people of Chicago what a TIF is and why they should care.
TIF is a tool created by government to designate a certain geographic area and to provide an incentive for developers, for-profit or non-profit, to carry out a project. The money that would be generated in the form of a tax increase on whatever is built, a store, a warehouse, an industrial plant, instead of going to the property taxes, goes into a special fund that is used as an incentive to make that project happen. It is a subsidy, a property tax subsidy that is used to make development where it wouldn't happen for a period of 23 years. So for the life of that new property, that new development, those dollars are siphoned off, taken off the tax rolls until the project is completed, then it returns to the tax rolls. The increment, the tax dollar value that would have been created goes into the special fund, which acts as a financing mechanism to make that project work. The problem with TIFs has been that they have gone in the downtown area to the rich and wealthy, people like Ken Griffin, to build a new Marriott hotel in the South Loop, to other well-connected developers in Chicago that have relationships with City Hall. It's not even a level playing field because those businesses that are not connected oftentimes cannot get it. It ought to be happening. The dollars should be used in areas and neighborhoods that have been divested in historically where redevelopment is very difficult.
Robin, I want you to remind me to ask the mayor the same question. Okay.
Well, you know, people don't like TIF because it's complex, but it is important. Do you believe that TIF should stay around? Would you get rid of the TIF concept, which was created by Mayor Harold Washington? Would you get rid of TIF altogether?
TIF can be a tool for making development happen in communities that have suffered from disinvestment. I would keep it, I would scale it down dramatically because we would be taking from those taxing bodies like schools and parks and other taxing bodies that need that money to build and invest in their own infrastructure. And so I would keep it, but I would scale it down and make sure that they pass the test of making development happen where it otherwise would not occur in economically depressed areas.
Can I have one more TIF follow-up? Everybody knows I love TIF. You say that the mayor is an estimate of 1.7 billion or 1.9 billion. You get that high, 1.7 versus 9 billion point. Do you know what those projects are? And are you saying that they are not projects that the city should be engaged in?
I have no doubt that some of them are good projects. Some of them are going to schools. Some of them are going for industrial purposes. But many of them we have no clue because there hasn't been transparency. That's what I will usher in, transparency and accountability with respect to public tax dollars, property tax dollars at that.
Mr. Wendell Mosby, what are you thinking?
So, Commissioner Garcia, like you, myself, I think we share something in common that I'm also elected to Prairie State Community College. And one of the things that, when I was elected, looking at policies that had adverse effects on the district, on the students, and with your breadth of experience, we talk a lot about jobs. And I work for somebody who we try to give opportunities all the time. We just opened a restaurant, and I would say jobs is not the sole solution in our community.
What's the question?
Well, I would say that family is. And so, if you're elected, can you think about a public policy that had unintended consequences that impacted the black family that you, as mayor, could reverse or start to rebuild?
Well, the one that I think has had the greatest impact is mandatory sentencing for drug laws. That is why we have the prison system in this country that disproportionately impacts people of color, African Americans, Latinos, and poor whites, as a matter of fact. So doing away with mandatory sentencing would be one of those. Judges should have the discretion to make those decisions. They're closer to the reality that they live in. They have a better perspective on understanding how to deal with individual situations.
Like, for example, for things that you can do as mayor, for instance, like in CHA, you know, where people that have criminal backgrounds can't move in, things of that nature that you're not something to judge.
I think that the city should be a strong advocate for hiring the formerly incarcerated individuals, because